Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Stage Diving with Scotty. Today, my guest is Little Dove, and this is Vanya. Welcome to my
Hi.
show.
Hello.
I'm curious, and lately I've been having some bands with interesting names, and I'm just kind of curious, where did Little Dove come from?
So when Little Dove started happening, I personally, I've always felt that using my own name gives people the wrong idea because I like the process of playing with other people. I feel better, more comfortable, I guess, not using my name. So around the time I started writing and collaborating with the first Little Dove people, I was watching Game of Thrones. And one of the queen, I think, named Sansa Little Dove, and I asked my buddy who I was, playing with, Dylan. I was like, "Hey, what if we just go by Little Dove?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, V, that's cool." So that's how that happened, and
That was
here we
too
are.
easy.
I
Way too
know,
easy.
I know, I know, but it
Well,
worked.
well, that's kind of seems kind of recent. So when did you actually develop the band or start the band?
It's been around for a while. I guess we played our very first show in 2013, and Little Dove started as a two-piece with me and Dylan. Dylan Cooper. He played this kit that was made out of like trash and like a hamper and like cookie sheets, and so we were very like White Stripes in reverse almost. And then
I like that.
from there, like he got married, had kids, and then I moved from LA to San Diego, expanded into like a more traditional 4 to 5 piece, and had another lefty in the band. Like I'm a lefty, so there was another lefty, so that was fun. And then when I wanted to tour, I looked at, ticket prices to get to like London and Ireland. I was like, wow, that's really expensive. And so I put a call out on Facebook. I was like, hey, are there any rhythm sections that are like already in London where they're already friends? And this one guy wrote, his name is Carl, and he's like, yeah, I've got a guy. And so they auditioned via YouTube and rehearsed without me. And I flew over there and we rehearsed one night and then played the very next night, our first show in Ireland. And then so it's just kind of like whatever happens. And then Fernando, I record with all the time. He's recorded Lil Dub's first record and pretty much has been on every recording since in some way.
And that's for Fernando Perdomo?
Correct, Fernando Perdomo. So
Perdomo.
if you've seen, there's this Netflix documentary called Echo in the Canyon. He was in that
Oh,
documentary. Um, the guy in the bowler hat. And so he's either playing like lead guitar or bass on the record. We've pretty much all the vocals I've recorded at his studio and some of the mixing and editing. So he plays a big part in like the co-production and making us sound how we sound.
and that's also in San Diego, or is that
I know
LA?
he's in LA, so
Okay,
he
LA.
has
Yeah.
a studio. He just moved to North Hollywood, a studio called Stairway Studio. So it's right near the Burbank Airport. So cool
Oh
little
wow.
spot.
Well, with your first gig then, did you already have like original content, or were you just doing covers at that point, or
Uh, I've
what were you
always
doing?
written songs, before Little Dove happened. I played solo, but I hated being a singer-songwriter because they're like, let's put you in a coffee shop, and I have this like big
Yeah.
loud voice that's not really suited for those kinds of venues.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna rock out. And so I had, some songs that I've been working on, but then as Dylan and I started playing together, he definitely influenced my playing. And so I wrote more. Like I had some, but I was like, hey Dylan, I have these songs, let's play a show. So I had a bunch of songs and then I wrote more and kept writing more as new people filtered in and out. So that's
Well, then did with that, then did you also, because you said you play with different musicians, do you kind of
yeah.
feed off of that with your next kind of like song, or like do you kind of feed off of per song with the different musicians? Does that make sense?
It definitely, well, I haven't done a whole lot of like co-writing with people, which is what I really hope to do more. A lot of times it's time constraints. Like so many of the musicians I know are just insanely busy. And so even trying to get together is difficult.
Yeah.
Um, but usually when I have a song, I just have the idea in mind of playing with other people. And so I hear things in my head and sometimes like songs, they're kind of just like bratty kids. Like they just want what they want sometimes.
Yeah,
Like if they want ice cream, you have
I
to
like
give
that
that
idea.
song ice cream. If they want to go to Disneyland, you got to be like soon. and and so, you know, you just I try to play with people and communicate verbally what I'm hearing. It's like an idea that's already decided itself sometimes and doesn't feel
Yeah.
like mine sometimes. And then sometimes like I don't know where it comes from. Like I'll go back and listen to it. I'll be like, did I make that? Like, how did that happen? Because it'll just be different. And so it's playing with different people has definitely influenced me in different ways. And if I know a particular person maybe excels at something, I will create space. Like, here's where
Okay.
you can go off. Here's where you can
Yeah,
shred. Here's where you can do your thing. So I always try to make space for the people that I like to put their stamp on it.
I like that. That's cool. Okay. So like when you go on Instagram or whatever, any of these social media outlets, and you see someone with a guitar, a lot of times you go, "Oh gosh, is this going to be cringeworthy?" Or that kind of thing, right? But I was pleasantly surprised with some people, but with you, and I think the first one I saw of you was you called it your weird song, and
Ah,
I was like, "Holy crap, you got some vocals on you."
oh, thank you.
Oh my gosh. And I like this song. And I don't know what was weird about it. I thought it was fantastic.
I felt like it was just late at night, and I was I like somehow I do my best stuff when I'm almost deliriously tired. Like I work nights for my day job
Yeah.
as a designer, and so that's on
Oh,
China
nice.
time. 15, so they're 15 hours ahead. So I'm having to work with people 15 hours ahead, and then I'll just get really tired. My schedule will get messed up, and my roommate works nights, so from like 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. he's like gone, and sometimes there'll just be no one else here, and so that's when I can sing because our neighbors are not like super far away. So I'll just sometimes I'll be in a weird mood and I'll do like if it's just me and a guitar and I'm posting a video, a lot of times it's just me doing whatever. Like it's not
Yeah.
necessarily Little Dove. It's just like here's a song. Maybe I'll play it with Little Dove one day, maybe I won't. And my whole thing is that when I write, I kind of have to record something in the minute that it happens and capture it like you're capturing a butterfly in a net.
Yes.
Otherwise it's just gone and
Yes.
it'll fly away. And
Hmm.
even if I try to recreate it, there's something about capturing it in the
Yeah.
moment that it happens where it's never going to happen just like that again. So you have to catch it.
I walk through all the steps of our lifetimes, go coursing through the shadows of our minds. This is not what we bargained for.
And so that particular version of that video you saw was like I tried to redo the version. I was like, you know what? It's just not the same. This version is the best one. So
Yeah.
that's what I posted.
So then, so you don't think that some of these you will actually post as Little Dove?
I mean, the best way that I can define my writing process, I think there's a quote. I forget who said it. I'd have to look, but they say the best way to get good ideas is to get lots of ideas and throw the bad ones away.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So I use that as part of my writing process. And the other one is writing is rewriting. So a lot of songs, if I make them, sometimes they feel like they don't fit. And then sometimes it takes time to make it fit. Or sometimes I think, oh, well, this might go on this record, but then maybe I'll save this one for later. And sometimes I just pull out songs live that maybe I haven't recorded to give people a little bit of a treat, a element of surprise, which I think is nice.
That's awesome. I love
So
it.
you gotta keep it interesting. So
Well,
I don't know.
I have to compliment you on that because going through some of those videos that you do when you say you're kind of, when you and your roommate's gone, I think that's so cool because there's something, well, obviously something organic is usually really cool because you never know what you're gonna get. And I think it was so cool watching some of those videos, like, well, even the one where you said, I think your I keep saying bandmate, your roommate was gone, and before they're coming back home or something, you're just laying on the floor with the blue light, and you're just hitting like I think just like single notes and
Yes,
just and
yes.
belting, and I just thought that was just so freaking cool because there's those nights where
I was too
not
tired
anymore.
to stand up that day. I was tired. I was like, I'm just gonna put the camera here and just lie down and do this because I'm tired.
I love that. That was so. But there's something great came out of that. I think that there was a moment in time for that little bit was so great. I don't know. I think they're
Yeah,
really
it's freeing, and a lot of times I'll sing. A lot of ideas that kind of end up on records are things that I sing in my car. Like if I'm going on a long car ride, I'll turn the music off and something will just happen. And so I'll record it on my phone. And then that will become like I write differently if it's just singing. So maybe I'll hear a chord in my head and sometimes I'll maybe get help from a friend rearranging it later. And I'll be like, that chord, like my old guitar teacher, we've been working together since I was a kid. And so I'll be like, here, guitar, he's like my guitar dad. So I'll be like, here, I hear this vibe. And I was like, no, sadder. And so I started off doing that, having more help with chords. And then as time went on, started just playing more. But there's definitely a separation writing just singing because you get more freedom without having to lock in that muscle memory of the constant strumming. Yes. Which is why sometimes I do single notes because it allows more freedom with phrasing than the constant strumming because it becomes more stiff, I would say, when the more I play guitar and focus on the rhythm.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
So, I encourage anybody that wants to explore writing to, try writing in different ways. I try to write gender neutral so that anybody could use the song of any gender. Or you don't necessarily know if it's for a boy or girl. Mm-hmm. So just different things, got to push yourself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you actually speaking of like sort of that kind of writing and whatnot, do you have you heard of Luca Wilding?
I have not. Tell me. I always love to hear.
For some reason, okay, so I don't know if what song it was it was one of the Instagram posts. But you reminded me a little bit of like the storytelling and just how you belt because you really have an amazing voice, and it made me think of Luca Wilding. And I know I've said this I think to maybe one or two other people on the podcast, but he is just a phenomenal. Like when I first heard one of his songs, I thought he was so high, like his singing voice is very high. I thought it was a girl singing. Oh, and when I found it was like, oh wow, okay. And then, but what caught me was that was the first impression. But then when I heard his storytelling and the way he sang was just smooth and beautiful, and the storytelling was like he's different narratives. He's at one point he saw something on a train, so these two girls talking, so he took the girl's perspective and just like but kind of mix things around with each storytelling, and it's beautiful. You should definitely check him out. I think you will really enjoy him. Okay. He's not just songwriting, but his singing as well. Great stuff. But
sometimes what I try to do, like it's hard. I think a lot of musicians feel the pressure that maybe they have to live like a messy and chaotic life in order to find inspiration.
Yeah.
Which can work in a sense, but after a while, it's bad for the body. It's alcohol does mess with the vocal cords, and I hardly drink, but if I'm not going through something, sometimes there'll be other people going through something or just something happening in the world, and so I'll try to write not necessarily from my own personal perspective, but putting myself in their shoes. And so I write almost imagining it, if I were going through what they were going through, what would I write about? And so it's just another way to kind of push yourself in a direction you might not normally go.
Don't see me coming, don't turn around, I got ice in the back of my head. We'll rig the gamble, we'll rule this town, I got ice in the back of my head. They play detective, they call it even, I got ice in the back of my head.
It gives you a chance to explore and work out that muscle maybe you don't do as much.
Yeah, no, I mean, writing, I don't know. Some people say, "Oh, I put in all these hours," and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like if you live your life and you have, you know, a lot of people that have become really notable musicians, they started off in the working world having just like a regular life, working hard, and it was that hard work at something else that kind of built the creative juices just kind of built up. And I joke that it's like a balloon with air in it. You have to let it out, you know. And so that's, I don't know, sometimes it just happens. If I try to force it, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right at all.
No.
Yeah, and people can tell that kind of stuff too. They're like, it's just another
Yeah, I mean,
song.
every now and then, like, I don't, my music's not for everyone. I don't try to make it for everyone, but someone wrote the other day and they're like, I checked out your music. It didn't inspire me in any way. I'm like, well, thank you. That's one person.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not for everyone. So that's okay. I guess that just means I'll have to find more people that, you know, like what I do. No, I think some men or you know, people in general have regrets that they're not living out their dreams, and so they get mad when someone's doing, you're putting yourself out there and doing what you love. Like there's risk of embarrassment, there's risk
Yeah.
of failure, but you gotta try anyway. And so sometimes I think, I'm like, you're just saying that because you're just mad.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, go do your thing. Go put yourself on a limb. You see how it feels. It's not easy.
No, I used to have, and that's the unfortunate thing, and is I used to feel that way when I was younger, in a way. Like I would have been a really horrible troll back in the day because I was that elitist kind of guy where it's like, if it's not punk rock at that time, I don't want to listen to it. If it's not this, I don't want to listen to it. Oh, that band sucks. And I've said this 100 times on the show, but with Yellow Card is the band that kind of changed my perspective. Because when I
Okay.
was younger, I hated them because I think I was jealous of them because my band wasn't big and they got a violinist.
It's a hard pill to swallow. It's hard.
It is, especially when you're young and dumb.
Like, what? How did you do it? Like, and usually you find out, you're like, oh, someone somewhere had money that they just bought their way in. Like,
Yeah.
that's how it happens a lot of
No.
times.
And so I went back, and there's a lot of bands that I missed out on, and but that mentality, I'm glad I switched though, because I've opened myself up to so many different genres and different kind of styles, and all kinds of different things, in which I think I think a lot of people should do that, because if they're stuck in the one genre thing, you're really, really missing out on some beautiful music.
Yeah, I kind of have some weird quirks when it comes to consuming music. Maybe it was the fact that I was homeschooled and I didn't go to high school like at all. I just didn't
Oh
go.
no.
So that whole like, oh, my clique listens to this, like it didn't happen. So I had, influences, like I would dance and do, like, I used to ice skate, so I had influences of like whatever was popular in the ice rinks that
Yeah.
kids were skating to, and then just what people would give to me. So my policy is that if someone tells me that I should explore a particular artist, they say, Vanya, you need to listen to this. I always make a point of checking it out. And then the other thing is that I try not to listen to too much music in my genre. I try to listen to music in all the
Smart.
other genres except my genre. And then if it is my genre, most likely it won't be listening to a female vocalist, because the idea behind that is that you might emulate them. So I call it intentional ignorance,
Yeah.
which probably irks some people, because like Fernando, for example, he's just like a walking encyclopedia of music. And if you quote some famous song, I'll be like, and it'll just go over my head, because maybe I'll have no idea what you're talking about, because
Yeah.
I tend to focus on like a kid has a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day for 6 weeks straight. That's like my music consuming style. So I'll just consume the same album or particular 2 or 3 songs off of a record over and over and over.
Mhm.
And like the Beatles, I only own the #1's record, and that's it. And
Yeah.
so it's a lot of just sparse collecting of songs that become like a kid with their favorite teddy bear. Like, I like this one.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. So I'm the
That's
worst music consumer ever, but I do watch a lot of TV. So I hopefully make up for it there. And that's a nice way to hear new artists, because you get to hear the way music supervisors pick songs for shows. And
Very
sometimes
true.
they
Yeah.
make interesting choices. So
Yeah, I found some really great stuff when I used to watch Sons of Anarchy. I would always like go back and listen and go, I whatever that song that is. I thank God for like what was it Shazam and some of those because
Yeah, now they
those are
have it all. Like,
oh so
I
good.
forget what website, but it's not hard to find. If you know your seasons and your episodes, you can look it up. And
That's true. Yeah, that's right. What were some of the shows that kind of had the best music that you thought, or you was more ear catching for you on some of the shows?
oh my gosh. Um,
Whoops.
well, I did explore Grey's Anatomy. I would say that some of the first sort of lessons of learning about music supervision, and I've done some of those like online seminars for, how they choose songs for TV shows. So Grey's Anatomy is
Oh,
one because they made a CD that was like in a store somewhere. Like maybe I was in a thrift store and it was like, these are the songs that were on Grey's Anatomy. I was like, I will buy that. Because my old car still has a CD player, so I actually
right on.
listen on discs because I don't like to fumble with my cables. Like I've murdered every MP3 player I've ever had, so inevitably. So I do not own. I think I own one that I run with, and it has like the same terrible punk pop that I that's what I exercise to.
Yeah.
But TV shows, you know, it's funny. Like I can't really say off the top of my head, but I binge watch so much TV that if anything that's like Lucifer is a really good one.
Yeah.
Because they play and singing is sort of an element of the show. Because one day I would like to write an episodic a show about musicians that has songs in the show, and so people will maybe watch the story to see what kind of and have the song happen in the show, so like a musical but not because it's not cheesy.
I like that. I like that a
So that's
lot.
I mean Dolly Parton did a Christmas musical. She's one of my idols because she's done so much.
Yeah.
But I want to do something that's like, because I feel like that's a way more people watch TV. Like I think 10 million plus people watch the premiere of Bridgerton. Bridgerton is a great example because they take modern versions of songs and do pop string instrumental versions. So you'll listen to it, you'll be like, what is this?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, and then you'll have to go back and look it up, like the season and the episode. You're like, Taylor Swift, done circa 1800s quartet. And it's just really cool because you get to hear how a melody stands out and if it's recognizable when you take the words away, which it's pretty interesting
Yeah.
to hear it that way.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, more so in the latest, well, they've done it in both seasons, but more so in the latest season they've done that. And then even like it has Camila Cabello, that's how I say her name, Cinderella, the musical, super cheesy, but they take, I think, the White Stripes and refashion it for like this dance montage scene. And it's
okay.
cool the way they interweave all of that.
So was that one of your, speaking of White Stripes, was that one of your major influences, or who were some of your influences?
I have tried, it's like my kryptonite, people telling me that I sound like Jack White, because
No, I wouldn't
I
say
mean it's
that.
something that I would say that I've tried to escape over the years, but no matter how hard I try, people will always be like, you're like the girl version of Jack White. And so we started as a two-piece, so I was like, okay, well, it makes sense as a two-piece, the White Stripes. And so that just pushed me. I was like, well, then I'm gonna become a four-piece or five-piece because I want people to say I sound like something other than Jack White, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I've actually sent stuff to the Third Man label because I feel like that'd be a good
Saw that.
label. So yeah, little envelope. I put some like glow in the dark on it.
Yeah,
So
that was cool.
I figure someone will leave it in the office one day. They'll turn off the lights to go home and they'll be like, what is glowing? And then they'll open it and they'll listen to it. That's my strategy there.
That was smart. I like that. That was really cool.
Gotta think outside the box.
Is that one of your main goals, is to get signed, or are you just kind of like do you like being independent, or?
I like being independent because I think I would have trouble if someone was telling me what to wear or being bossy. But you do hit a point where you're like, man, it would be nice if I had help.
Mhm.
So the pandemic kind of ruined a lot of things, ruined any sort of momentum for a couple of years, which is no one's fault.
Very true.
But being on a label would be nice, but I think a lot of people have the impression that basically a label is kind of like a loan from a bank. And so
Yeah.
they put in the money. It from a booking standpoint, I think most people have no idea how hard it is to like book tour dates overseas, for example. Like the sheer amount of emails you have to send just to book a handful of shows, because so many people don't write back, or venues shut down, they change management, different people, and so it's hard to keep up. So from that standpoint, I would think maybe the logical next step would be having booking agent help, and so that would be nice. But yeah, a label would be good, but if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, I'll keep going regardless. And I just wish more people knew that when they see a band on stage, they don't necessarily have the help of a label. I think a lot of people assume like, oh, most bands are on labels, they have help, and so they don't feel compelled to buy anything or support the artist because they think they already have everything they need. Like there's a magical band fairy with buckets of money coming from somewhere. It's like, no, the money comes from what they make in merch sales. So you buy a t-shirt, you buy a shirt, you buy a patch, you buy the records. And I've had things where there's lots of people in the audience, but because of the demographic of the audience, they're all on Spotify and iTunes. They don't feel compelled to buy anything. And so it's, from that standpoint, a label would be very nice, because in theory, you would just have a bigger pool of people hearing about you.
That's true. I'm friends with a lot of bands, a lot of friends, and some of them are eager for a label. And because I think they've also reached like a standpoint where there's like just a little extra help, just extra boost to get a little more ears.
Yeah, I mean,
even just if it's abroad.
I like to say that, once you have your songs in place, 90% of what determines your success is just your business hustle. It's like, well, how much can you cut and paste and send some emails? Because that's what's going to make the extra difference. And I think a lot of artists don't realize that. Like, some go to school for music, and it's not like they sit them down and say, you must be very good at typing 80 words per minute. Like that's not what they teach. And so I think the more people realize that if you stop waiting for someone to come along and help you, and you just kind of take it upon yourself to find a way to do the work yourself anyway, knowing that you can do it and realizing that you don't necessarily need the label, just doing something, anything is better than waiting for that magic bullet to come along, because there is no magic bullet. You are the bullet.
And is that what you kind of just did from when you started this, was just kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to have to do this myself. This is because it's pretty much you, and you're just like, okay, well, which socials do I want to be on? How do I promote? How do I create things to keep people interested? Like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've had pressure from people that saying like, oh, you should do YouTube. You should do some YouTube covers, or, covers. Like for a while, it was a really big thing, and lots of people have made a name for themselves, but you tend to notice that a lot of them get stuck in that. And so they get stuck in I am doing a cover of this, and they don't get to the point where they do originals. So I've maybe done one or two covers, but I haven't done a lot of that. I've more just, I guess, followed my own chi of what feels right to me. So I've done a lot of touring in the States, and I feel like just watching other bands, America's so big, and a lot of people don't realize how big it is until you get out there and you start driving. And so to hit all the major cities, just the sheer amount of time you spend on the road is like time versus money, and the cost of gas these days. That's kind of why I was like, I'm going to tour somewhere smaller. Like I love Ireland. Yay. Because it's just so much smaller, and because not as many people go there, they seem so very grateful to have good music, and there's a level of appreciation that you feel that I don't feel I get every time in the States. So I like,
we're oversaturated.
Yeah, so there's less saturation, and I don't know, maybe it's the I don't know, they just have a really nice appreciation for the arts, and it's more about, I would say in Europe, it's more about just being true to yourself and having good songs than trying to do something in the
Like
vain
show.
attempt to be famous.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's more people doing things for the right reasons over there, because fame is not as big of a deal there. It's
I wish that was the case here. Uh-oh, it's froze. Are you
Are we
there? Oh,
there?
there you are. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
you unfroze.
It says my internet connection is unstable. But I do try to research different things. Like Instagram creators will tell you how Instagram is changing. I have trouble getting into TikTok. I feel like a lot of people think that they need to build their audience, and then before you know it, it's like, oh well, that platform is out of style now, and now it's something else, and it's something you just never get ahead of. And so I sort of put my priority on just talking to people. Like,
Yeah.
I talk to the fans, I find out where they're from, I ask them venues in their city, and I just make a conversation.
go.
And a lot of people seem to appreciate that you take the time.
Oh. Uh-oh, froze again.
My back.
Okay, you're back again.
So yeah, my thing is that, just connecting with people is better than exhausting yourself putting out content, because I think a lot of people put out quantity, but there's no quality. You need quality.
Oh, 100%, I agree with you. Yes. And for someone like me who just jumped into it when my band and then doing this, and I observe all the time, it breaks my heart sometimes to see that some people are just very that focused. It is about building and building and building and doing cover, and it's just like, slow down, take a second.
Yeah, I think maybe years from now we'll have some sort of disease in the psych manual of like, this is addiction to social media and how we define our value based on how many likes you get.
Yeah.
And the algorithms, we don't know what they're doing. And so, to create and exhaust yourself, that's at some point it's not healthy, and you need to go live your life and not be posting. I know so many people that they're posting 15 to 20 updates a day. It's like, no, why don't you just take the time to make a nice photo? Like, I'll put up a song if I feel like putting up a song, but that's because I feel like it, not because I feel that I have to.
Yeah.
Consistency is important, but I don't think that the excessive overposting and constant sharing of stories, like at some point you need to go live your life and bond with real people.
Absolutely, 100%.
I feel like a lot of people, they spend an excessive time on social media, but maybe it would be better to spend more time on like a good engineer, or like to work extra hours at a job so you can have a really great mix. I hear a lot of bad mixes.
Yeah.
And I think having really great photos is also super important. Like, go to a photographer occasionally, and instead of a bunch of selfies, people actually knowing what you look like. I'm still undecided on whether I feel music videos are like really worth it, like the concept ones.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people spend a lot of effort only to have almost no one watch it. And so it's like, to give you a really terrible example, but a good example. So I post acoustic versions of my songs, and I'll get anywhere between a couple hundred to 1,200 views with my modest following just on Instagram over time.
Mm-hmm.
And Instagram Reels is one thing where Instagram will pull from other people that are not your followers. So the things you see that are showing up in your feed from people you don't follow, a lot of those are Reels. And so I've posted some Reels with little to no success. And the other day I posted a video of me just with a spoon in a pot. Like, you couldn't see my face at all. It was my spoon. I was making a bowl of pink pasta. It's blueberry flavored pink pasta. That video, no music, no nothing, just, making pink pasta. And it's not even that bright a pink. It's barely pink. It's a little pink lavender maybe. And in an hour, it got almost 20,000 views. And so I'm just like, this is why I don't spend a lot to make music videos, because, I mean, maybe I think probably what I will end up doing is a really nice live recording, like a music video, but you see that everyone's doing everything live, because I think that element, people hear the recording and they're like, oh, you can't do it live. Well, it's like, no, if you can do it live, you should show people, because there is value to that. So I probably will do some sort of studio type thing soon.
Well, do you feel that? Okay, let me ask you this: do you feel that same way in regards to the whole video making videos thing? Do you feel that same way in regards to? I've had this discussion as well as albums versus singles, because I noticed you have like all singles and not any sort of like collective.
So I do technically have an album. I just don't advertise it as that.
Sorry.
And no, it's okay, because it's not on Spotify. I put it on Bandcamp, and I've
Okay.
basically held out on putting out an album um, because I waited for the pandemic to end, and my intuition is like, I just have to add like one or two more songs and then I'm done. Like, and so it's always like one more song and then I'm done. So it is there, but you have to look for it. The friends I know, I have a couple friends that do release material. Consistency, they say, is key. And so
Sure.
putting out a whole record, not the greatest, but they have a lot of success. For example, putting out a song a month, or a song every 2 months, a song every 3 months on Spotify. And so people seem to, my sort of thing is consistency, is that whether they like it or they don't, they need to be hearing me sing or hearing me play in some medium on my socials, at least ideally a couple times a week. So I strive for consistency over anything, but probably later this year, I will get to a strategy of just putting out more singles, because I feel like to put out a whole record, people are maybe going to spend 5 minutes listening to the first song, and maybe they won't. We're just not, we're not in an album society anymore. We're in more of a like, these are singles. And the people that I've maybe glimpsed across on social media that are doing really well, they will shove a song down your throat with like so many Instagram posts of like them singing it in a car, someone else lip syncing it, and it's just the same song over and over and over. I'm like, wow, you're really pushing for mileage with this one song. Like I get it. It's there, it's finished, it's dropping soon. Okay, point taken. But maybe that's what people need. They need you to hit it in there with a pile driver. I really don't know. There's another band that I found through Facebook ads. They had a really cool Facebook ad, and I was like, oh, this band seems cool.
Mhm.
And somehow they have hacked the Facebook ad algorithm, and people are buying their records that way because of a Facebook ad popping up. So there's
Really?
so many different ways. I mean, I had success once posting to fans in Italy, and I ended up with these super fans in Italy, like
Really?
from one post, and they're like, ciao. I'm like, buongiorno. And so they love rock and roll. So I think,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, you can explore, certain cities do better for certain genres. And I
That's
just
true.
I just try to talk to people and be nice to everyone, and you just never know. That's basically how I do it. You can only get so far being a jerk these days. You can't you can't be a jerk. And I think a lot of people think, oh, rock and roll, a bunch of jerks.
Yeah.
Like, no, I prefer to be a nice person. Thanks.
Yeah, they stick around. Like, there's some people that you want to hang out with. When you see the ego thing, you go, okay, it's still, I feel like that's just very human. You see that, and the first thing you go is nope, I'm going that way. I don't know,
Yeah.
I just feel like it could happen.
Yeah, if there's one thing I could impart to like younger musicians who are maybe just starting out, it would be that you do not need to tolerate rudeness or unkindness. Like, there have been a lot of negative things that I've put up with from people over the years, like whether it's sexual harassment or people that feel that they have to criticize your music. Like, there's a difference between constructive criticism. Constructive criticism never feels good, and sometimes it's good to have a person be honest, to tell you the thing that maybe you don't want to hear, because it does help you grow. But there's a huge difference between constructive criticism versus someone going out of their way to say something that there's no opportunity for growth, where it just tears you down.
Yeah, exactly.
And the right people, growth is uncomfortable, and maybe sometimes they'll say something that you find upsetting, Like, oh, this mix sucks. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't hear your vocal. Oh, the drums are too loud. Like it could be anything. And it might not feel comfortable, but you'll know the difference between somebody that has good intentions versus someone that tries to pretend that they have good intentions, but at the end of the day, they're more interested in tearing you down to make themselves feel better. And you
True.
really you don't have to put up with people being awful to you. The best, most talented people that I have found that have become my long-term steady people, they're 100% positive and there's no negativity. And I think women in particular, it's so much harder for us that we feel pressure that maybe we have to put up with it. But ladies, you do not. You can just move on, find people who are nice, who are kind, who are professional, who are not creepy. And the best people don't feel the need to, use harassment as like a tool to help you get ahead. Like you don't need to do that. You don't. Your talent should speak for itself. So
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that. Thank you.
Shake the woods and you get beneath it. All the things you said, no, I can't keep them.
I want to bring something non-music, but
Okay.
so you are I'm completely ignorant. You have a pet possum or a possum or what
Opossum.
opossum.
Okay, so I'll provide a moment of marsupial education.
Thank you.
Possum is Australia. So
Okay.
Australia has possums, and in North America, we have opossums. With
Your
the O.
your opossum is absolutely adorable.
Thank you. Thank you. She's coming up on a year old.
Oh my gosh.
Someone posted in a Facebook group that a little opossum had ended up in their compost bin and they couldn't keep it because their cats were going to eat it. And I was like, I'll take it. And I'm trying to just keep my calm, like, please, please, please bring me this opossum. I want it so bad. But I was like, I can't act too excited because then it won't come to me and they'll know something's up.
Yeah.
And because it was a friend of a friend on Facebook, like we had mutual acquaintances, and they're like, well, we're bringing it over. So that same night they brought her over in a little shoebox. She was flea infested, so I spent like an hour methodically picking off there had been close to
Holy
100
cow.
fleas.
Oh my gosh.
And then I followed some opossum people on Instagram because I was like, what do I feed her? Because there's so much conflicting information on the internet. A neighbor had just had goats. And so they're like, I have baby goat milk. I was like, all right. So I fed her baby goat milk the first week.
Okay.
And then expanded, joined a Facebook group for opossums where they talk about opossum diets, and have learned so
Wow.
much about opossums. They're water trained. They do their business in a pan of water. They love grapes, but not the peels. So they'll chew them and then spit them out. Just a peel. They love bananas. She's eaten like crickets, little pinky mice, dead, of course. So yeah, it's good.
And the name is Adelaide?
Adelaide,
Adelaide.
like the city in Australia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Adelaide. But the plan had been to release her, but she was found in a trash can, and any trash can I've had in my house since, she will end up in it, and then she'll be like, I'll just curl up and go to sleep, and she won't come out. I'll be like, where's Adelaide? I'm like, you ended up. I've had to rearrange the trash cans. Now in my bathroom, I have a trash can that's like this big because otherwise she'll climb in it and stay stuck. And it's like, yep, you would just be taken out with the trash. Like you have no chance. Because we tried. Like I had a tree branch. Like they trimmed the trees in the yard. I was like, can I have that branch? For a while, I had this branch in my shower, and so she would practice climbing. And
Oh my gosh.
and then trimming their nails is terrible. If by chance, say it's raining, my dog has done her business inside and I don't know because maybe I've been gone, she will roll in it and eat it, and it's because it's something primitive. It's like a delicacy for them, and it keeps predators away. So if you think wash like a unruly toddler or something is hard, try washing an animal with claws and a very strong prehensile tail with 10,000 years of evolution to climb and grab onto things. So It's very. I have a opossum bath time on my TikTok.
Yeah, well, I saw your post on
Yes.
Instagram where you're like,
And then
sleep.
I was like doing her nails, and then her tail will come up and go like this and like slap me in the face. Because I use a rotor thing, because her claws are sharp. Like I don't know if you can see, but I
Oh
have
my
all
gosh.
these scratches that happen
Oh,
all the
Lord.
time. And so if I have to give her a bath, I have to wear like these padded jackets now all the time. So I'm pretty much just like a marshmallow.
Oh, no.
I'm at home, because otherwise her claws will get in you and then they won't let go. They're very strong.
Have you ever just like tried like maybe like caging off maybe sort of and just cold water just spray?
You know, I wish.
That
but
sounds horrible, but I'm
she
just saying.
seems, you know, it's probably happened like 5 or 6 times now that she has found some feces and rolled in it. It happens so fast. Like you try and before you know it, she's just covered, and but she's trained now. So if I run, because when she was a baby, she needed help going to the bathroom. Like kittens, they lick their bellies, and
Yes.
so she needed help. And so the warm water would make her do her thing,
Oh, gotcha.
and the sound of the faucet. And so now, if she's made a mess and like she knows it's coming, she knows she's getting a bath, I'll turn on the faucet, wait, and then she'll go do her business in her litter box, and then she'll get a bath.
Oh, nice. There
So
you go.
she seems to finally understand bath time. But aside from that, the times that
Little
she
victories.
rolls in shit, basically, they're very clean. They're very clean animals. They're very clean. They're constantly grooming themselves, kind of like a cat. So they're very tidy. She likes to sleep in my pillowcase. It's not a pillow that I use anymore. Like that's her pillow. So she'll climb in the pillow in my bed, and it's like her marsupial pouch.
Okay.
So the next morning, like once or twice, I've tried to make the bed, not realizing there's a fucking opossum in my bed. So she'll be like, "Oh, I'm awake." So you'll hear like breathing from the pillowcase or the occasional sneeze.
Oh
And
my
then more
gosh.
recently, she will come out, and I have this piano bench in our living room because there's a piano. So she'll climb up on the bench and she'll sleep between the bench and the piano under it to be where the action is. And so I've put a towel there to cover it. And so we have a housekeeper, because I Airbnb some of the rooms. So we have a housekeeper that comes and keeps stuff clean. She comes every once in a while, cleans the common areas, you know, and she came in one day and I was like, yeah, the towel, you see the towel there? That's where the opossum sleeps. And her English is not the best. She's like, one day I live towel and the opossum was just they're looking at me like, ah, which we all know, open mouth, like opossums, you lift a curtain and all they do is they go, ah, for hello. That's like how they say hi. They just show their teeth. She's like, I put town back, I'd run. I was like, I'm so sorry.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
so and then when they walk around, like she'll creep and then she'll pause and be like a frozen, you know, video, and I'll be like, where's Adelaide? And she becomes like taxidermy in my house. And I'll be like, where is she? She's so still. She was like,
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
part of the decor. And it's
Oh,
it's
that's
bad.
hilarious.
And the dog hates her, and so she'll have this ramp. She'll try to climb up the ramp to go to bed, and Gidget will be like, "Ah, no!" And then, but finally, the opossum has like learned to defend herself. So now Gidget will walk by, and the best she does, they don't make noise really, except the occasional growl when they sleep or they
Oh,
snore.
really? Okay.
And so she'll walk by, and she'll be like, "Ah!" And I was like, "Oh, you're defending yourself. It's so cute." But they're very, and then they do this other thing called slubbing. So slubbing is like opossum language for love, and so they like rub on you. And boy opossums do it more, but not girls as much. And so I'd had her like for months now, almost a year, and she had never slubbed me. So I was like,
Aw.
But finally, the other day, I filmed it. She was like, I was like, "What are you doing?" She's like grooming in my hair, and then she rubs in it. I'm like, "Oh, you love me." Like, and then they do this other thing where they click for attention, like a, but
Oh,
but
really?
a little more muffled. And so when they want your attention, they click for you, like mama.
Oh my
I'm like, oh,
goodness.
you missed me. So like I went up to LA and I came home and I fell asleep and I she wakes me up, she climbs out of the pillowcase and I'll be like, wake, turning. I'm like, oh, there's no possum right there. Like her little whiskers. And then she's clicking, which means she like wants to be held. So she's gone from very feral to like enjoying. She now has to be in the room I'm in when I'm doing my work. So she'll sleep in the living room when I'm working and then come back to sleep at night. And
Oh
it's
my,
cute.
that's adorable. I love that.
But
It's
then when
so
they run, they have like fleshy paws, and so it sounds like this little human run when they run. I've learned things.
So if for a person not experiencing that, I feel like if I walked into the room and I started hearing that, I'd be like, "Oh my God, what is that?" Because that
Yeah.
kind of weird, creepy, kind of like.
Well, we had a short-term Airbnb guest, and she's like, "Oh, your dog's friendly." And for some reason, I didn't tell her that I had an opossum. And then one day I come out holding what looks like a giant rat, and she's walking in the door, and she's just like, "Ah!" I'm like, that did not disappoint. Like, did not. She was afraid of it. She's like, "Is it out?" I'm gonna close the door. I was like, "Do you want to see her? Do you want to meet her?" She's like, "No, no, no, no."
Oh my gosh.
So it's fun. But yeah, most people are either creeped out or find her adorable. So I think she's adorable.
I mean, you should keep her just for entertainment purposes like that.
They have a very short life in
Oh.
captivity, maybe 3 to 4 years tops, but in the
Oh.
wild 1 to 2. So you don't get much time.
Oh, that's
But
unfortunate.
I've looked up trying to travel with one, like because I thought maybe that I'd be moving, and so part of me is like, how can I travel? Because she'll hang out in my hoodie. I'll be like, "Yep, I'm pregnant." Like the baby's kicking. Like, nah.
Boy, that'd be like, weird. Weird
I'll
to
be
see
like,
something like that. Oh my
it's a
God.
cat. It's just a strange looking cat. Haven't you seen? It's a very exotic breed of rat because you're allowed to travel with rats, but the jury is out on opossums. So
Wow.
I'll be like, haven't you seen this king rat from Africa? It's exotic. Like, of course, giant.
And it's rare. I mean,
Yeah, it's a very
come
rare
on.
breed. So who knows? Maybe I'll make it happen. But from what I can tell, you cannot travel with them. So
Oh wow. Well, that's awesome though. I love.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. That was great.
marsupial education. North America's only opossum. Although there's river opossums in South America. So if you want to see the creep of the marsupial world, they look creepy as hell.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Princess Bride, the kind of rat SWAT
Like-
ramp.
Like those rats, and there's some rat in a Disney movie where they're just like evil. And you're just like, oh, you're ugly and creepy and
You're not
whatever.
gonna be sleeping near my head.
No. So hopefully that entertained you. But yeah, I get more
Okay.
views on the opossum videos than anything. I'm doing holiday photos. She has a graduation theme coming because it's graduation season. So she has little cap, tassel.
Oh no.
Yeah, we did Cinco de Mayo.
I saw that one.
Yeah. So she'll have graduation, then 4th
Oh.
of July.
Oh my Lord.
Keeping it pandemic activities that have just continued.
No, that's great though. That's fun. Well, I just want to thank you for your time and I really do. I really enjoy your music and I really enjoy your
Thank
videos and I really hope people check it out more. I mean, you got again, you're close to 7,000 people on Instagram. For me, that's like huge, especially for
you.
independence. So
Yeah, we're on Bandcamp, littledove.bandcamp.com, and on Spotify, and then all the weird acoustic stuff I just post on my Instagram usually. But we're gonna be putting out a single. It's gonna be a cover of Aretha Franklin's "Never Loved a Man," but done heavy rock.
really, okay, cool.
Yeah, I just cut the vocal for it yesterday actually. So
Well,
it'll be
nice.
good. So it'll be out in a couple weeks.
So do you one more question? Are you planning on doing I know that one's coming out. Do you kind of have a plan of how many more you're going to do maybe for the end of the year or just kind of play it by ear?
Um, so I am probably gonna put the record out once I have one more song that I'm putting on the record. It's called Get Out of Your Head. So I just finished tracking it. It's a song about the pandemic, but it could be about any time.
Yeah.
But I wrote it during the pandemic. I was like, this song needs to go on there. And so it's just acoustic and vocal. It's gonna be the only acoustic song on the whole record. So I'm gonna tack it on at the end.
Nice.
And then actually put the record out. So
Cool.
so
Very
it's been
exciting.
a long time coming. So
Yeah.
because I held out for a couple of years, I was like, I'm just gonna sit on this record while the pandemic does its thing. So
I think it's time. I think
yeah,
more
it's
people need to
time.
hear you,
So
honestly.
probably I don't know, maybe like by August 1st. That's my guess.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Very cool.
coming up.
Well, very cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, again, I really do appreciate your time and thank you. And this has been an absolute delight for me. So I can't wait to hear more music and see more videos.
There will be more. Be
Excellent.
prepared.
Good.
We're just ramping back up again. So Fernando's gonna play some live shows, and we're pretty excited. So
Oh, good, good. And do
yeah.
you actually have sorry, sorry, last question. Do you have any gigs planned up soon? Like anything soon maybe that
We're just
releases?
so there's a festival that's going to be happening in the Northwest in August that hopefully I'll be playing. I will know more soon, but it's August 12th and 13th, I think, near Portland, Oregon, and then probably just going to do one-offs here and there. Some stuff in LA soon. So I'm just kind of figuring out what drummer is available, and Fernando's going to play bass, and then we're going to start rehearsing. So probably towards next couple months. So summertime, late summer 2022.
Thank you for your time and I hope you have a wonderful night and I'll talk to you
All
later.
right, have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.